Right, hello everybody. I'm doing this video because a friend of mine keeps asking me to make some how-to videos and just some progress videos of the type of stuff that I do. So I like to do leatherworking. It's been a bit of a hobby of mine for the past while. It's mostly been kind of fantasy style armor, stuff like that is what I really love to get into. But I've been limited in terms of what I can do because of access to tools. I've been traveling a lot, things like that. Now, finally caved in and decided I'd make a little video. But I am halfway through a project, so we'll just kind of jump in halfway. So what I'm working on at the moment is, because I was traveling a lot, I was sleeping in tents, staying at different places for a couple of months at a time. So often I wouldn't have a desk and I'd be in my bed with the laptop on my lap. So when I moved to a new apartment where I didn't have a desk, now here in Dublin, I decided to make a little laptop stand for in bed. You know, the one you put over your lap and then you can put it on and stuff like that. So that's this, basically, very simple. If I'd have to do it again, I'd probably do it a bit nicer, but it was just something that was supposed to be functional. So literally just a floorboard. Kind of stole all of this from a friend who was redoing our house, and then in here literally 2 panels of wood on some hinges, and then the sides here are just to kind of stop that from opening and keeping going. Also, don't look at the underside. I was trying different varnishes, so it kind of came out ugly, but the top isn't too bad. So once I had that finished, my creativity kind of got the better of me, and I've been missing leatherworking. I had some of my tools and leather available, so I decided I was going to put a leather covering over this. So I cut out the material, just some Napa leather. It's not too thick, not too thin, nice and stretchy. I've used it before. So it's Napa lamb leather. And then because I kind of, the only tools I had, I couldn't do any stamping or embossing or anything like that. So I've been doing a lot of stitching. So basically this will drape over here. And then we've got a nice Celtic cross running along both sides. So I don't know if you can see that very well. And there we go. Again, you should have seen the process for that. I wish I kind of filmed it. It took me quite a while. Celtic crosses are very, very annoying. I don't know if I'll ever do one again. The second one was a lot better. I think this is my first one. This is the second one, which went a lot smoother, a lot more accurate. So maybe I'll do it again, but ideally I'd paint it instead of stitching it. And then I was going to stitch something on the top here, but because this is a relief, it's like putting a laptop on there, the friction, and especially if you want to work with your mouse, although there's not a whole lot of space, that was going to get difficult. So I decided to do something I've been thinking about doing for a while, and that is to paint the leather. So I did a bit of research. Acrylic seems to be a good choice to use. So I started with acrylic, and this is kind of halfway where this video will pick up in kind of a progress video. So as you can see, that's kind of what I've done so far. So I'll stop there with the intro, and I'll show you kind of how I got to this, all of this. And this is the design that I'm going to paint on it. So you can see I've already kind of taken out the others. And so what I'm doing here is a very, very finicky part is cutting out the trees and kind of the landscape. So the reason I do it on paper is initially I thought I'd actually use this as a stencil and paint it in, but you'd still get brush strokes on the sides, so not very clear. So what I've done instead is I use this, trace the outline, and then paint it in. and that's just so it's more neat instead of doing it freehand, where if you make one mistake it's gone. But this one's going to be interesting. So basically drew it out on a piece of paper, taped it up with some masking tape to give it a bit of substance, and then now we're basically using a Stanley knife to cut it out piece by piece. Let's see where we are. All right, so here we go. And one of these days I will actually get a proper workshop when I'm stable somewhere and living somewhere for a longer period of time, and be able to do this on a more regular basis. And there you have it. Basically that's where we have the cutout. It's not really, it's too focused on me, but that's the cutout. So we can now use that to trace it onto our leather, and then go ahead and paint it.